Dearborn, Michigan has the highest percentage of Arab American residents in the United States. And according to The Intercept's latest investigation, it's home to the second highest concentration of people designated as, quote, known or suspected terrorists by the U.S. government. But The Intercept also found that nearly half of those in the government's terror watch list, are not actually connected to any known terrorist group. So now the Council on American-Islamic Relations is challenging the government's placement of 5 Muslims from the Detroit area on this list. Joining us now is Lena Masri, the staff attorney at CAIR. Lena, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's talk about this lawsuit came about as a result of the Intercept investigation and some of their reporting. So if Dearborn has the second highest concentration of people designated as possible terrorists, how did you select these 5 people? Who are they?
This lawsuit has actually been in the works for quite some time now. The leaks definitely bolstered the lawsuit, and we've been able to use the leaks to strengthen the lawsuit. But essentially, all of our plaintiffs have been designated by the government to be added onto the watch list, and they haven't been given any type of notice or meaningful opportunity to contest their designation. Currently, the government has the ability to add you onto the watch list based on a very flimsy and vague standard of reasonable suspicion that you're involved in reasonably suspicious activities. That's really allowed the government to broadly designate Muslim Americans without any type of accountability whatsoever. So what we're doing with this lawsuit is we're directly challenging the government's ability to secretly label American Muslims and deny them any type of due process or ability to challenge their designation.
So tell us about one of the men who's involved in the lawsuit here, Yassin Kaddoura. He claims that the government put him on the no-fly list and then tried to get him to be an informant in Libya.
Yeah, and that is actually an example that's very well documented. There are a lot of instances, including that of our clients, where people are designated onto the watch list, and this makes them vulnerable for government officials to offer to remove them from the watch list if they cooperate, either as informants against the American Muslim community domestically here in the United States or abroad. Now, in the case of our client, Yassin Kaddoura, he was approached by an ICE official, an immigration official, who requested that he commit espionage in Libya. When he refused, within a few days, he was added onto the no-fly list. He tried to board a flight, and that's when he learned that he was no longer able to board commercial flights and fly. So he was contacted again by the ICE official and offered, if he was to agree to work or to commit espionage in Libya, that he would actually remove his name from the no-fly list. There's well-documented examples of this type of instance happening. The other problem is that American Muslims, once they're added onto the watch list, the government officials or border authorities receive instructions to actually question these individuals and allows the government to question them without the presence of an attorney. None of these individuals have the right to an attorney at the border, so it pretty much gives the government free access to question these individuals and obtain information repeatedly every time they attempt to cross the border.
Now, as you said, some of these lawsuits have been in the works for a while. There has been well-documented evidence, but how much has the recent reporting by the Intercept with the information that they have that's been handed over to them through some kind of a whistleblower, someone on the inside, has that helped to bolster other people who have been trying to bring some kind of legal action against the government? Has it given them standing?
Most definitely, the government documents have actually very much strengthened the lawsuit in the sense that we've obtained a lot of information that we did not have access to before. So, for example, we know, as you mentioned earlier, that Dearborn is among the second highest where the concentration of individuals within Dearborn are represented on the watch list, the second highest of 5 major cities in the United States. The other major cities are much larger. New York, Chicago, San Diego are much larger than Dearborn, with Dearborn being less than 100,000 residents. we can tell from that report that American Muslims really have been disproportionately targeted, and American Muslims and Arab Americans in Dearborn have been disproportionately targeted for inclusion on the watch list. So definitely those documents do bolster the lawsuit, but this lawsuit has been in the works for quite some time now.
Often what the government says is they will claim things like state secrets privileges. They'll just say that these things are a matter of national security, and so they'll try to block any kind of legal action and really to cover themselves from having to give up any details. Do you feel like this time will be any different?
It will not be any different. The government will seek to prevent access to documents based on state secrets. We're confident that we will be able to contest that in court.
All right, Lena, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me.